Alright, we are back for episode 3, and this is the Iron Warriors episode. They're Legion number 4, but since Legion number 2 doesn't exist, episode 3 features Legion number 4. That's probably the last time I'm going to address why the Legion numbers and the episode numbers are off. Hopefully everybody will figure it out. So, I've started off by priming this guy with Lead Belcher spray from GW. And, as you can see, I've already done this once on the shoulder pad here, but this is the way that we're going to do our stripes today. I wanted to make sure it was going to work though, so I did it first on the shoulder pad, and now I'm going to show you how to do it right here, right now, with the rest of the stuff we want. So, what we need is an X-Acto knife, a sharp one. I like to use a dull one, or a not as sharp one for cutting off the flash off little bits of the miniatures when you cut them off the sprue, so that I don't slice my finger open. But for this one, we need a sharp one, and we're just going to come to wherever we want stripes. In this case, I'm going to want them on the bolter right here, and we're just going to very gently score our lines where we want our stripes. We're doing this because, well, one, on a bolter like this, good luck ever taping it, and two, I'm bad at freehanding, but I'm good at just slicing little lines. And I think if you try this as well, I think you'll find that you are better at maintaining a straight line with a knife than you are with a brush. But if you're already great maintaining a straight line with a brush, then, you know, you do you and carry on. I'm also going to do it to this this part of the backpack right here. Just come down. And what this is going to do is, because we're going to use contrast paint to paint these stripes, these little ridges we're creating by cutting into the paint and just barely into the plastic, these little ridges are going to stop our paint from sliding around, and we're going to basically keep them in the stripes there. And as you can see, I've already done it on the shoulder pad here. This unrimmed shoulder pad, the shoulder pad that just is one surface all the way around, doesn't work so great for stripes, if I'm honest. I don't think it looks that good. I did it anyway, though, just to show how to do it, how to do some stripes. But personally, if I was going to do stripes on a shoulder pad, I would put shoulder pads that have the rims. The Mark III shoulder pads, I think, are the best for this, but you do you. And now, we're going to get into our first actual color, and that's going to be Black Templar. So we're just going to put this kind of the same places we put it in the other two episodes. We're going to put it on the bolter, first of all, and then on the armor joints, and a couple other places. And this might be counterintuitive. I did say we were going to paint our stripes with contrast paint, and so you might be wondering how we're going to get the yellow of the Iron Warrior stripes on here, but I promise everything will become clear. We are, in fact, going to use contrast paint to make this effect work. So I'll finish that bolter up in a second, but where else are we going to put this? We're going to put it on the shoulder pad here. The bumpy shoulder pad is going to be completely blacked out, and we'll paint the bumps back in. Do this real quick. Always don't forget about the edge on those. And then we're also going to do the joints in the armor here. And again, as I talked about, you can't see the joints in the front here, but some of the bolter poses you can see the joints, so make sure you get them if they're showing in the front. There we go. And I'll finish those. And I think that will be the only things that we're going to do black. So I'll finish up these details, and we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, we're back, and our Black Templar is all nice and dry. Now, we're going to move on to some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to apply this with a very wet brush, which will help kind of dilute it. We don't want to be turning this silver brown, we just want to kind of give a hint of brown around the armor. So I'm just going to go all over with this, a little more here. And if it starts to turn the armor brown, like there, I'm just going to rinse my brush and come in and get it back off. So I'm just going to go all around the armor with this, just giving it a little tint of brown, just so it's not 100% clean silver. Again, rinse off my brush, come back in and grab it off. And in a couple places, it might we might get like almost a true brown color, but once it's all worked into the armor with all the other colors we're going to add, it will it'll read kind of just like an off silver color. And actually, on camera, it looks even browner than it is in real life. But, there we go. Alright, so we will let this dry, and then come back and do these stripes. Alright, we are back, and our Agrax Earthshade is nice and dry. And now we're going to do the stripes. So, we're going to do these stripes with yellow contrast and black contrast. So in order to do that, we need to make these bits that we want stripey to not be black and metal colored, because we want to use contrast paint. So we're going to use some Corax white, and I'm just going to get a little bit of this on my brush, get most of it off, and then I'm just going to come back in and stipple it on. Like this. Being careful to avoid other areas of the armor. And this will do two things. One, allow us to put our yellow contrast down over it, but also will give sort of a weathered look underneath when there's darker and lighter patches underneath the contrast paint. So I'm going to do it on this part back here first. Just being careful around the other bits here. And then the bolter, we're going to have to be very careful. There we go. I'm going to have to be very careful on the bolter here, so I'm just going to go very gently. And I might actually even use a different brush, just so we get the stippling only where we want it. Let's grab a slightly thinner brush. Don't want to use too thin of a brush because you don't want to mess up your good brushes, but right along there. There we go. That should work. And then I've also added the lines here on this butt plate, so I'll do them as well. This Iron Warrior probably has more places of stripes than I would put on most Marines, but I just wanted to show it off in different places so you can make the decision for yourself where you want to put it. Personally, I would probably only put it on one, maybe two parts per Marine, but here we are. So, I'll let that completely dry, and I do mean completely dry, because it will run together with the yellow if not, and then we'll come back and paint the stripes on. Alright, so we've got our white all nice and dry, and now we're going to move on to end in yellow contrast paint. At the time of filming this, GW just announced their new round of contrast paint is pre-ordering a week from now, so it'll be out in 2 weeks. As I talked about in the last episode, it might have been better to wait on this series until those new paints came out, but I didn't. I'm sure they'll make some colors that would be very useful on some of these miniatures, but that's alright. And we probably won't be done with this series before they come out, so the later videos I might mention and give some updates on some of the earlier videos about a color in the new contrast paints that might have worked better than the ones I used in the videos the first time around. But we shall see. For now, I'm just, everywhere we stippled on that white, I'm just painting in yellow. And then we'll come back with our black Templar after our yellow is nice and dry. Paint in the stripes. And so this is where our line work we did with our X-Acto knife will come into play, and hopefully make the striping process very easy without too much hassle. So I'll let this yellow dry, probably blast it with the hairdryer, since it's a thin layer. And then we'll come back and do the black. Alrighty, our yellow is all dry. We're going to go back to our black Templar. And we're going to paint in the stripes. So, I always like to start with the corner stripe being black. So we will do that. We'll start right here. And we're just going to go along. You still do have to be a little bit careful along the edges that you've made here, but you definitely don't have to be as careful as if you were just freehanding straight on a flat surface. These ridges that we've created really will help a lot with containing the paint. Sometimes if the ridge isn't perfect up by the edge of the armor panel, you will get a little bit of bleed over. I personally think on things like Iron Warriors, a little bit of bleed over isn't the worst thing, but that's your decision to make. Just get this last one here. Come down a little bit. Just like that. There we go. So then we'll do it on the bolter. These stripes are very small. I'm gonna actually re-rinse my brush and get it nice and clean. And then just get a tiny bit of paint. And then we're gonna come in and get these stripes here. So again, I like to start in the corner being black. And there we go. There you have it. Those ridges are helping out a ton. I'm just going to clean up where the stippling got a little out of hand up here. And then, of course, we're going to come back in with silver shortly and clean that up again. Now I'll go in up here to rinse my brush. Getting a little frayed. Again, I like to start on the corner. And then just come down the next stripe right here. And the next one right there. And it might be hard to tell on camera how much the ridges are helping. It may just look like I have a steady hand. I promise you, though, if you try it out, you will be pleasantly surprised at how well these ridges that we've made by cutting actually help contain the paint. So there's our stripes. This one, I think, is this one's a little wonky. I might have cut it wrong. I might just not have painted up to the ridge. There we go, it's a little better. So like I said, I think I wouldn't put as many stripe locations on each miniature, but I just wanted a couple different locations so you could decide for yourself. I think if I were to paint an army like this, I would go for the ones on the bolter and the ones right there. I think those are pretty cool. I really don't like it on the unrimmed shoulder pad that the Mark 6 guys have. And I don't think I really like it on the butt plate either. But on the backpack and the bolters, I think where I would go, personally. But now we will let all that dry and then come back and do the silver. Alrighty, we are back and ready to do the silver. And so for that, we're going to use Iron Breaker. And we're going to do this in several different places. So first of all, we're going to do it in the same places we've done it on the other two Marines. So first the bayonet here. And then the various details on the gun as well. And like with the other two, if you haven't seen the other two, if you put the chain bayonets on your guys, I would paint the teeth in silver, leave the body of it the same color as your bolter, and then the part that connects it to the bolter I would paint in silver. For us, we're just painting it completely silver. Then we're going to get the barrel of the bolter here. And then just the raised details of the bolter. Again, this is sort of just dealer's choice. Whatever you want to make silver, you make silver. I'm just picking a couple things out. I think the Games Workshop color schemes for a lot of the Legions paint the entire magazine silver. I like leaving it black and just doing the little line down it in silver, but that's just me. So then I'm going to paint this belt pattern or whatever it is on his chest in this lighter silver. Sides of his helmet here. And then the camera on top of his head or whatever it is. Then of course the bumps here. You could also do these in the same color as the armor, so lead belcher in this case, with a little bit of Agrax on top of them, but I just personally wanted to do them in the same color, same silver color as the accent I'm using, so that's why I did that. And then I'll get these conduits here. Make sure to get the back of the conduits. And then the exhaust here on the backpack in this color as well. I have been in the previous videos just painting the 6 most prominent rivets, right, those 4 and these 2 right here. On this one, I'm not even going to bother. Silver on silver, you absolutely could paint them and you would notice a difference if you look closely enough, but since this is supposed to be for painting an army quickly, I would not even worry about it. And then I'm just going to paint these things back here in that same color. So then I'm just going to jump straight into the next color, and that's going to be Blood Angels Red contrast paint. And we're going to do the eye lenses with this color. Blood Angels Red over a silver metallic like this kind of gives you an orangey color, and that's sort of what I want for these eye lenses. I don't want them to be pure red. I want a little bit of an orange. There we go. And then the little lens that's right up here. There we go. Alright, so then we only really have one more thing to do, or 2 more things to do, I guess, but we're going to do those after everything dries, so we'll come back once it has. Alright, so everything is nice and dry, and we're going to do the last 2 steps. So, same as the last couple episodes, we're going to grab our Dawnstone and our ratty old brush. Not this one, this one. As you can see, it's seen better days. We're going to get some of this Dawnstone on our brush, wipe most of it off, and then come into the edges here and just wipe up into the middle of the shoulder pad here, just to give a little bit of weathering. And we're going to do it on the black stripes here as well. And then I'm just going to go all over the bolter with this, just on the black parts. There we go. And then I forgot there's black stripes over here, so we'll do the same thing over here. And then over here as well. Alright, so then, the very last thing we're going to do is take our Nuln Oil and put it over all of the black and silver on this miniature. I'm not going to put it over the black of the stripes because I don't want to risk hitting the yellow. But on everything else, I am going to put a little too much on the brush there. There we go. Just come through here. I said the black and the silver. The whole marine is silver. I meant the black and the second layer of silver we applied. So the highlight silver. That's what we're putting it on. Not all of the armor. We want the main part of the armor to have that slight brown tint that we applied with the Agrax earlier. But our highlight silver, you can have this null oil on it. Finish this there and up here. I'm actually going to drag this down to the front of the helmet here just to give that a little more definition. In a couple places like there, and then in the knee pads and on the shoes. Just for a little tiny bit more definition between some of the armor panels. And then I think just one last little spot, which will be just up here on this bit right there. And then we will call it a day. So, right about now, you should be seeing him on his base. It's very basic basing scheme, but all these Marines that I'm painting for this series are just getting based the same, super simply, just so they can all kind of look uniform together. I'm not doing any of the Marines on my army scheme, despite some of them fitting into an army. Just want them all to be one unified paint scheme or basing scheme, and that's it. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully the stripe method some of you can utilize to get those crispy stripes without having to tape all those tiny parts or get a bunch of struggle with the trying to freehand your stripes. So yeah, I encourage you to give it a whirl. But thank you everybody for watching. I will see you on the next one, which will be chapter number 5, which I'm blanking on. I don't know who chapter number 5 is. I guess we'll find out in the next video. Again, thanks for watching. If you like this sort of thing, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.